So I was reflecting the other day about my life, right? From a few years ago when I used to work a minimum wage job. And I'll be honest with you guys, my job right now, I've been at it for about 3 years and I am full time there. It's definitely quite a bit more than minimum wage, let's put it that way. But thinking back to when I worked these jobs and I was getting paid literally the minimum pay, like you would think about minimum wage, right? It's literally the bottom of pay. You are getting like the lowest that they are legally allowed to pay you, right? It actually sounds insane when you think about it. And so I worked these type of jobs for, let me see, probably about 6 years, guys. Like almost 6 years, 5.5 years, let's just say, altogether. Which feels insane to me because when I think back on that and I think about where I'm at now, and honestly, even time in between when I was waiting to get this job, it seemed like such a total waste, right? And so, first off, I will say this at the beginning of this video. I don't want anybody out there that works these type of jobs to feel like I'm talking down about them or talking down about you or anything like that. I'm solely making this video based on my opinion, but also kind of as a motivation to try to get something better, right? And again, I will say this, of course, I understand that there are circumstances where a better job may not be available yet. So by all means, when I'm saying this, like my opinion is this, is I still think that having a minimum wage job is better than having no job at all, right? So let's just clear the air there. I'm not here to judge, say anything about that kind of stuff, but just really express my opinion and my thoughts on these type of jobs, right? So let's talk about it. So I was thinking about it, right? Now, when I worked these jobs, I worked minimum wage for 5.5 to 6 years of my time. And now that I work a full-time job, now, mind you too, prior to this, those jobs were only part-time, so I wasn't even full-time at those jobs. So I wasn't really making very much money, right? But the thing was, is I was still pretty good with putting my money away and saving it. So, I was still able to save a lot of money despite that, but I noticed how I was able to save so much more and have so much more opportunity when I got out of those type of jobs, when I actually started working a job that paid, a decent wage, right? So when you think about it, like these jobs are some of the worst jobs out there. I think we can all collectively agree on this, right? Working like a drive-through, working at a nursing home or, some sort of retail store that you're making such little money at, right? You are literally working extremely hard at these jobs too. Like, they're not the easy jobs. Minimum wage jobs are usually one of the more harder jobs. So I definitely give credit for people that have done it, and including myself. Like, they are not easy jobs. They suck. They are the worst jobs, right? They're the worst paying jobs, and they are by far the worst quality of life jobs. They just absolutely suck, right? And I think about it, I'm like, man, I was working all these years with these type of jobs, making very little money, and had I worked a full-time job even 2 or 3 years earlier, right? Like, had I left my first part-time minimum wage job and found a job that actually paid a decent wage and I was full-time, like, I could have even had even more money saved up by now, right? But again, that's coulda, woulda, shoulda. Like, I don't like to live life in that sort of way, but let's put it this way, right? To put things into perspective, when I had quit my last job, that was 3 years ago now at this point, over 3 years ago actually, I had taken probably about 2 weeks in between before I transitioned into this job, and I'll be totally transparent with you guys. I buckled down on some side hustles that I had, in terms of like my reselling business that I've, pretty much have had since I was in high school anyways. But I buckled down on that. I did a lot more of that kind of stuff. And I just did a bit of a combination of DoorDash, but it was really nothing crazy. I was definitely not putting in more hours than I was putting in, prior. And then I was just picking up random side jobs like here and there, right? I only did like a few of them, right? But just like little things like, I helped somebody move, right? And I got paid pretty good for that too, I'm not gonna lie. Hard work. But I realized I was like, I just made more money in this week, or in the 2 weeks rather, than I pretty much had made of any paycheck my whole 3 years at that job. And it just made me really think about it. And I thought, the amount of time, too, that I had dedicated towards that job, and the amount of time that I had dedicated towards these, like, little side hustles, and like I said, just a little dash of DoorDash in it, too, right? Just, a little extra money here and there, right? I realized, man, I didn't even put that much time into this. It is a whole lot less stressful, but yet I'm making more money than that job. So when you think about that, it puts in a real perspective that those jobs are literally like modern day slave jobs. They are horrible, right? I mean, I get it. There are circumstances where you may have to do it, right? But I would say for people out there, like if you're working a full-time job and you have a family and you have to pick up like a second job for whatever reason, right? Because like, you have bills and all that, right? Totally understandable. Things are not cheap nowadays, right? It's like if you had to pick up a second job and work those minimum wage hours, right? Even if it's like 15 hours a week, say, right? And then you have your 40-hour week job somewhere else. Like, I'll be honest with you, you're much better off trying to go and find some sort of side hustle, whether it's like going thrift shopping, going to yard sales every weekend. Like, I don't know, there's so many things. Just getting into Pokemon cards, I don't know. I'm not trying to also guys, I'm not trying to encourage scalping, so let me just say that right now, right? When it comes to Pokemon, I know it's like an interesting hobby right now. I like it. I have actually a whole video talking about it, but you guys kind of get what I'm saying, right? I mean, even if you have to go pick up some DoorDash, right? I mean, granted, DoorDash, I'm not going to go and tell you can make a ton of money on that, right? It's really, really dependent on your area, your ranking, and, the type of orders you're accepting. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into that, right? But I guess, point being is, if you don't have to, stop wasting your time at these low-end jobs that suck, right? Because you really can make so much money elsewhere. And, I mean, unless, again, if you're still in high school and you're working these jobs, that's totally understandable. I mean, if there are no jobs in your area and that's all that there is, fine. But just make it a temporary thing, right? Don't stay there for a long period of time. I mean, I even think 3 years is just even too much at a job like that. I mean, I think about it now, it's like, dude, I definitely could have gotten more out of life had I not been constrained to those jobs. It's like those jobs too, and not even to mention too, right? Let's also talk about the scheduling of those jobs. They suck. The scheduling is awful in those jobs, right? I mean, here you are making next to nothing for pay. You're working super hard, right? You're probably going to be on your feet all day. And then on top of it, they give you this super inconsistent schedule that sucks. One that you're either stuck working weekends all the time, right? And, not even to mention, then you're over there working these, oddball hours of the day. They might be, in the middle of the day. They might be, right at the end of the night, super early in the morning, whatever it is. They're just not good. And then consistency, they're not even consistent. It's like those first two jobs that I had the worst schedules. It was so hard to plan stuff around. Yeah, I'd be working a 4-hour shift, right? But I'd have to plan my whole day around a 4-hour shift that I'd be making next to nothing at. It sucks, right? And then on top of it, don't even get me started on the breaks, dude. You get, the worst breaks. They want to give you, a 15-minute break for a 6-hour shift that you're standing on your feet all day. And then have the nerve to give you a hard time when you get back late to it. I don't know. Even a minute late, they're so up in arms about you being a minute late. And they'll also even talk about clocking out. You try to clock out of one of those jobs 10 minutes late, dude, they make a big deal out of it. It's crazy, right? And then that's the thing, when you put all this stuff together, why? If you have the opportunity, if you have the choice, stop working these jobs. Seriously. I mean, I get it. We need some of them. Don't get me wrong. We need people to drive through, right? We need people at these jobs. But I mean, not for nothing, a lot of this stuff is starting to become automated anyways, right? You're seeing less and less cashiers. There are virtually, like, no baggers anymore at grocery stores. And even when you go to McDonald's, half the time, it's easier to just go on a kiosk and order your food that way, or just hop on the McDonald's app and order it that way, right? So yeah, we're still going to need some workers, but you're definitely going to need less than what you needed before. So, I don't know, like, that's my opinion on it. I just think, like, man, those jobs, I hope, and, you know, I really do, like, I hope that I don't ever have to go back to a job like that, because of what I experience at those type of jobs, and how I know that there are more opportunities to make money, you know, so I can only hope that I never have to work at one of those jobs again. But honestly, I hope for anybody that's watching these videos is that you can do better. You know, you can definitely get a better job than that, right? There are definitely jobs out there. I'm not saying that they're necessarily easy to get. And I'm not saying necessarily that to never work at these jobs, but if you do, just make it temporary. Like, even just for the sake of your mental health and the sake of, like, yourself. Like, man, I can't even stress it enough. But, yeah, you know, it's just something I was thinking about the other day. I'm like, man, it's crazy. You know, it's crazy when you, like, actually reflect on it and you think about all those things. And you might think about it while you're there, but you think about it, like, in another perspective when you're out of it. Right? And then you just think to yourself, like, man, I hope I hope I never have to go back to something like that. You know? It's just that awful. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you have any interesting stories too about, like, some minimum wage job that you work right now, and maybe, like, you have, like, some crazy boss or something that you just want to, like, talk crap about in the comments, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear, like, a funny story. But anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video. Peace.